Welcome to NewsRound, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. I'm Teniola Shoboale. The headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered security agencies to rescue all those in captivity across the country. The Independent National Electoral Commission presents its 2022 to 2026 strategic plan and 2023 electoral project plan to help deliver free and fair elections. Nigeria's first female Vice-Chancellor, Professor Grace Alali-Williams, laid to rest at age 89. Plus, former Kenyan President Mwai Kibaki dies aged 90. That's NewsRound in view. NewsRound begins with President Muhammadu Buhari's marching orders to the country's security agencies to rescue all those in captivity across the country and advance the acquisition of intelligence. The National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, told State House correspondents after the National Security Council meeting chaired by the President that the President is not happy with the prevailing security situation in the country. According to him, the last straw for the President was the recent attack along the Abuja-Kaduna train track, leading to the killing of some passengers and kidnapping of others.
This is the first meeting of the National Security Council this year, but not the first time the President would issue fresh directives to the security agencies to end the protracted insecurity challenge. After nearly 4 hours of conversations behind closed doors, the National Security Advisor discloses the President's displeasure over the state of the nation's security, which has exacerbated after the Abuja-Kaduna train attack.
He's not happy about this situation. He's made it very, very clear. The first assignment he's given to the security agencies, especially the armed forces and the police, is to rescue those that are in captivity, not just those that have been captured, but that were captured during the last train incident, but those that have been in captivity in other parts of the country.
The insurgents may have surrendered in droves, but that action has apparently not led to a reduction of attacks, according to the NSA. Human intelligence and technology, he insists, is the answer.
Unless the wider society, right down to the local governments, are willing to give the type of information that is needed to block the activities of these criminals, this situation will continue to linger.
Weeks ago, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State affirmed that the whereabouts of the terrorists are not hidden, but swooping down on them might result in offending international laws.
We know where the camps are. We have the maps. We know everything. We have their phone numbers. We listen to their conversations sometimes. But the military were afraid of bombing them and then facing ICC.
Even if they say we know where they are, that in itself is already a problem. Because once you say it, whether it is true or false, the person who has your people in captivity will move to another location. It's just as simple as that.
Now, the complexity of the nation's security challenge remains unsolved. Now that the focus has moved from the northeast to the northwest and the north central, really, what is the success rating of this fight on the other troubled regions? And to what extent is the federal government willing to go in this war? And exactly what technology would be deployed? These are concerns Nigerians are hoping for answers. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuki, Channels Television News.
But to politics, the nation's electoral umpire is making plans not just for next year's general elections, but for the next 4 years. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, which presented its strategic plan in Abuja, says the plan will provide electoral officials the needed support to deliver free and fair elections, as well as register political parties and monitor their operations.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is accompanied by some national and resident electoral commissioners as he unveils the 2022 to 2026 strategic plan and the election project plan for the 2023 general elections here in the nation's capital, Abuja. The documents, which the Commission says will guide the operations of INEC in the next 5 years and draw lessons from the successes and challenges experienced with the implementation of the 2017 to 2021 strategic plan. Armed with those lessons, the Commission says it is determined to conduct the 2023 general elections despite the rising security concerns and attacks on its personnel.
We are also aware of the security challenges and their impact on the electoral process. We will continue to engage highly and intensely with the security agencies to ensure the safety of our personnel and materials, accredited observers and the media, and above all, the voters. Clearly, these are challenging times, but we are determined that election must hold in 2023.
Some of the priority areas in the strategic plan include resource mobilization and funding of electoral activities, security and electoral risk management. While commending INEC for the strategic plans, members of the civil society organizations want the electoral umpire to fine-tune all our technologies before the 2023 general elections.
But we will challenge you when there is need to challenge you. But we work with you when we need to work with you. This is not going to be a time. 2023 is not a time to say beavers are not working. We will be looking at the different departments and holding them to account. If the machines are not working, we will blame those who are in charge of the machines.
It is one thing to unveil a plan, but quite another to implement it. Many here hope that the Commission will follow these plans and adapt same to the country's dynamic political environment to deliver a free, fair and credible election in 2023.
Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, has been responding to the calls of some Nigerians for the establishment of an interim administration instead of having the 2023 general elections. Governor Uzodinma, who was speaking after his visit to the presidential villa in Abuja, cautions the authors of the idea, calling it unconstitutional.
The President, Muhammadu Buhari, receives Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State in his office, days after it had been widely speculated that a Security Council meeting would hold at the State House. Security and infrastructure are undoubtedly at the core of conversations here. Across the country, concerns have become profound over the state of the nation's security, infrastructure, and actions by the government to forestall the recurring attacks before the 2023 general elections. One of such concerns gave rise to a suggestion by a prominent lawyer advocating for the suspension of the 2023 elections until a new constitution is evolved. To this, the Imo State governor reacts.
By May 29th, if there is no elected government, our constitution has not provided for an interregnum. You shouldn't give a gap. Otherwise, you are creating room for anarchy. And what will be the process for selecting the interim government? Because after May 29th, the president may not have constitutional powers to function as a president anymore. So, but if there is any opinion that you think that is worthy to be canvassed, superior to what is currently in the Nigerian constitution, such opinion should be taken to the National Assembly.
Reacting to the persistent attacks in communities in his state, one of which led to the killing of several, including an INEC official, the governor insists that INEC was not the target.
We had the intels that the correctional center facility in Okigwe was to be attacked by bandits. and we caught their conversation, and we fortified the correctional center facility. 2 of the bandits have been arrested and are helping the Nigerian Police Imo State Command now to do a very thorough investigation.
By the same token, he debunks views that the APC is complicit in the fueling of persistent attacks across the country.
Among those that have been killed and houses that were attacked, how many of those buildings belongs to opposition party? Am I supposed to be attacking and burning down my own house? I just use this medium to call on Nigerian politicians to play politics without bitterness and stop letting blood here and there.
Now, in spite of the reverberating attacks, the president is apparently not reneged on his promise to resolve the security crisis, especially before he exits office. And this is the reason for the series of Security Council meetings, one of which was to have held on Tuesday. And the president has also been breaking fast with various groups. These meetings, Nigerians are also hoping, would foster a cross-fertilization of ideas that would also help resolve the security crisis across the country. From the presidential Villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
As on politics, one of the decisions that will be taken in a matter of days is how the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress will emerge. Although that was not officially announced at the party's 11th National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, there are speculations that the party hierarchy may settle for an indirect primary election. The party also agreed that the presidential nomination and expression of interest form for the 2023 presidential election will cost 100 million naira, while that of governorship will cost 50 million naira.
It is the first official meeting of the APC National Executive Committee with the party's National Working Committee chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari after the 2022 National Convention. The party may have surpassed expectations by political watchers, and the president is undoubtedly pleased about this. However, he warns party members to present a united front in order to avoid the mistakes made by the PDP in 2015.
I must caution strongly against any tendency towards developing cliques, infighting within the party. So it is very important. And the National Working Committee is your job now. Keep the party together.
The nagging subject of insecurity is another concern the president vows to relentlessly pursue.
People are very forgetful. Our main problem, surprisingly to me, is the Northwest and North Central. People stealing each other's animals, killing each other, burning each other's villages. What for? We are going to be very tough.
Saddled with the critical task of aligning sentiments and compromises in the interest of the party, the national chairman of the APC, Alhaji Abdullahi Adamu, identifies the root cause of the party's challenge.
The serving governors and the former governors must each recognize their boundaries and cultivate mutual respect for one another. The serving state governors cannot afford to treat them with disrespect or seek to undermine their relevance in the scheme of things without being damaged to the party.
A closed-door session ensued, after which a major resolution is announced.
The powers of the NEC has been vested in the NWC for the period of 90 days.
This is the first time the NEC would concede power to the NWC, as the implication of this resolution begins to unfold within the next 3 months. Members voiced concerns and echoed support.
If someone has paid his dues, I believe that the time is also right for another term for that person.
Please, let our members, I'm not asking for favors for our members, but let our members have a fair shake in the parliament.
The National Executive Committee deems as fundamental the need to resolve all inherent rancors, especially in its determination to reposition the party ahead of the upcoming elections. The president has given the crucial advice for unity. It is hoped that the party will progress along those lines. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The Lagos State Police Command says it has invited all necessary parties involved in the Christian school scandal for questioning, and they are expected to report at the State Criminal Investigation Department in Panti. This was confirmed by the Lagos Police spokesperson in an interview with Channels Television. Some days ago, a viral sex video involving some Christian school students had surfaced online.
Over the past few days, Nigerians have been shocked over the emergence of a video showing immoral acts by underage students of one of the largest privately owned educational institutions in the country. The acts allegedly took place in the United Arab Emirates about a month ago, where the students participated in the World School Games. Following growing reaction to the incident, turning towards concern, the Lagos State Police Command spokesperson has told Channels Television that all parties involved have been invited for questioning.
Everything is sort of fast. You know, this broke yesterday. We commenced the investigation yesterday. We sent out invitation to them. I think it's just 24 hours now or thereabout. So the people we sent invitation to have got in touch with us. They've acknowledged receiving the invitation and they've assured us that they will be coming. So it's only understanding that will give them some time, reasonable time. We're not allowing them to abuse the privilege, but reasonable time. So I can say that none has reported, but we are pretty certain they are reporting very soon because we're in touch with them and they have given us our word. They have given us their word.
Also speaking on the issue, a child care expert, Bisi Ajayi Kayode, wants everyone to put the interests of the children involved first in their response to the alleged sexual abuse.
In any intervention, reaction, action or counter-reaction to child sexual abuse cases, the best interest of the child should be paramount, including confidentiality to protect the privacy of the child. Enough of the shaming and blaming, and I'd like to let us know that it's adults that are responsible to protect children from child sexual abuse. Children cannot protect themselves. There's no way a right-thinking child can give his or her consent to sexual activity. So when you see sexual activities between children, there's an adult perpetrator involved. So we all need to be neutral, to be objective until investigations have been concluded.
As Nigerians await the outcome of the meeting with the police at the State Criminal Investigation Department, Panti, Lagos, the police has assured that the situation will be handled with utmost professionalism.
The funeral rites of Professor Grace Alale-Williams, Nigeria's first female vice-chancellor, have been concluded in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. The event, which held at the Cathedral Church of Christ, was attended by members of her family, friends and associates. The sermon was delivered by the former provost of the church, Reverend Yinka Omololu, who draws attention to God's reward of a heavenly home after a life well spent.
The overcast sky over the Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, Lagos, precludes a somber event about to hold inside. The funeral service of a national treasure, Professor Grace Alale-Williams. Just before the start, this fanfare salutes her memory. Once within, family and friends await the reception of the body, arriving in short order. And after hymns, epistle and gospel, The sermon is delivered by Reverend Yinka Molulu, which he titles Going Home.
In God's house, which is in an actual place called heaven, there are many mansions, there are many rooms. And that gives me great comfort that I can know for sure that Jesus has already prepared a place, a mansion in heaven for Professor Grace Awani Alele Williams.
More prayers are offered, leading to the Eucharist.
We pray this prayer to share in the body of Christ.
The service is crowned by a tribute from Old Girls of Queen's College, Lagos, one of Professor Grace Alele Williams' alma mater. The casket leaves the church service for interment. A family member recalls fond memories.
She was my husband's older sister. My husband was 2 years older than her. And my goodness, where do I start? She was the nicest sister-in-law anyone can have. And I miss her very much.
The family Professor Grace Alele Williams leaves behind can take added comfort that a good name endures, is better than riches, and transcends generations. Olumide Macaulay, Channels Television News.
And we end NewsRound in Kenya, where former President Mwai Kibaki, who led the country from 2002 to 2013, has died at the age of 90. As leader, Kibaki, one of the country's richest men, ushered in economic reforms and a new constitution, but failed to deliver on promises to combat corruption. His tenure was also marred by the disputed 2007 polls that led to deadly violence.
Mwai Kibaki, Kenya's third president, who served from 2003 to 2013, was credited with reviving the country's ailing economy through fiscal prudence and infrastructure projects. But his legacy was tarnished by his disputed 2007 re-election. Opposition leader Raila Odinga had been ahead by several 100,000 votes when the Election Commission abruptly stopped announcing the results and ejected journalists. Hours later, the commission announced Kibaki had won by a narrow margin and was hurriedly sworn in.
Why Kibaki?
Most observers say the elections were flawed. Odinga calls for protest, sparking a deadly police crackdown. 1,250 people died in the violence. Former UN Chief Kofi Annan finally brokered a peace deal between Kibaki and Odinga, resulting in a grand coalition government with Odinga as Prime Minister. Kibaki, a former economics lecturer, served as finance minister under Kenya's first two presidents, Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Arap Moi. Describing him as a quintessential patriot, President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered a mourning period to honor Kibaki, during which flags will be flown at half-mast.
As a university lecturer, a legislator, member of parliament for 5 decades, a cabinet minister, vice president, official leader of the opposition, and finally, as the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Emilio Mwai Kibaki was a quintessential patriot whose legacy of civic responsibility will continue to inspire generations of Kenyans long into our future.
Kibaki was among Kenya's richest men, overseeing vast land holdings and business interests. When he handed over power to Kenyatta in 2013, Kibaki retreated to his home in one of Nairobi's plushest neighborhoods, close to his beloved Mataiga Golf Club. He is survived by several children and grandchildren.
And that's NewsRound this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tenyo Olashobowale. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.